Hey guys, what's going on? This is your old pal, CHH. Welcome, come on in. So listen, this video was inspired by a couple reasons. Somebody had messaged me the other day about, Christian, should I grab bad channels on Blu-ray because I saw Full Moon is remastering it? And I said, listen, you need it. Blue Oyster Cult did the soundtrack. Demon's Kiss is about as classic as a Blue Oyster Cult song as you can get. And it got me thinking, like, why don't I show you guys the rundown of the golden era of Full Moon? My collection on Blu-ray, tell you which ones I think are priority, which ones you should have first in line, and some that you should check out before seeing. I've got a huge stack here, and I've got some cool box sets. The beauty of this, and one thing I give Charlie props for, is his box sets never really go out of style. They never really go out of print. He prints some, they sell, then he'll do more. And a lot of these are on sale a lot of the time. So I want to do this video for you guys today. I'm excited. Bad Channels coming to Blu-ray, remastered from the negative. Demon's Kiss. So many good songs. The soundtrack is amazing on this thing. But let's get started, guys. Let's start with the big premium box sets. Now, this was a box set that I did a review on. And I definitely think you guys should see about getting this. This was Umbrella when they did the Full Moon Fright box, which has Dollman, Demonic Toys, and Dollman vs. Demonic Toys. I'll give you guys an example of one of these. So here's an example, guys. Here's Demonic Toys. The artist that made these actually saw my review and saw my compliments on these. I love that they did quad style, and you can even take the cases and make them quad style too, as you can see. You can make your case. You don't have to do it. You can have it where it's upwards, but I like doing it like that. And the special feature on the back. Same remaster from the Full Moon Blu-rays and everything like that. This was just a really fun box set. Obviously, if you're a big fan, I would recommend this. But if you just want to own these, you know, this has Demonic Toys 2, Dollman, and Dollman vs. Demonic Toys, which Dollman vs. Demonic Toys is ridiculously over the top. I'll show this one because I don't think I pulled it for this list. Because I knew I was going to grab this box set. But there's an example. This has a Blu-ray as well from Full Moon themselves. Hysterical movie. It gets you in and out. I think it's right over an hour long. So Charlie was ahead of the curve now, because now it's a big thing. There's a lot of films that are coming in, especially in the independent scene, at like an hour and change. They're getting you in, they're getting you out. That is a fun box set. That might be a little harder to get, though, so let's just get that one out the way. All right, so this will be the one in America that a lot of y'all may want. This is the Puppet Master trunk. Now, this one comes in and out of print a lot. Always get this on the half-off sale. Check this out. Opens up, and then you got all your movies. Look how cool that is. There's no denying how cool that is. You can get little figures and put them in there, which mine came with some. I just have them. I never pulled them out of the box. But it comes with Puppet Master all the way up to Blade the Iron Cross, which I have to be honest is not a good movie. If you want, what I would do is get this and then take out Blade the Iron Cross and then put in The Littlest Reich, which is fan-freaking-tastic. If I didn't pull that out, I'm telling you right now, The Littlest Reich is amazing. The other box set, this is a newer one. Oh my God, look at this, guys. And we'll go over these movies a little bit more in detail to tell you if it's a own it now or hold off. This was the Subspecies box set. Check this beauty out. This thing is nice. Comes with a lid, and then you've got all the Subspecies films in there that make a picture. It goes up to Subspecies 5, Blood Rise, which was great. Directed by Ted Nicolau. This also has a CD soundtrack that comes in a Blu-ray case. Don't know why Charlie did that, but you know, that's how Charlie rolled. That box is gorgeous. This thing is really, really nice. I love the look of that. But let's get started. Now, I'm going to go through some of my movies, and I'm going to tell you which ones are must-owns, which ones put them to the front of the line, and other ones to check out. First off, I want to show this because it's just special. This is my Puppet Master Blu-ray. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, wow, look at that artwork. Where do I get that one? So they did some VHS big box releases that they did to kind of mimic those old Wizard boxes. Charlie did one for Puppet Master, and he did one for Tourist Trap, and he might have done one for Laser Blast, I think. You can find those on the website. Sometimes they come back in stock. If you get that version, that's how you'll get this awesome artwork, which I really, really love. Besides that, there's nothing too in particular about it. It does come with the Blu-ray and DVD. But, yeah, Puppet Master 1, if you want to get these separately, because you can get them cheap, that's the way you get this artwork. But I do love it, so I wanted you guys to see that. Next up, guys, here we go. 1995's Head of the Family. One of the sleaziest, funniest, grossest horror movies you'll ever see. It is one of Charlie's favorite films as well. This guy on the front is equally parts disgusting, hysterical, and you can't take your eyes off of him. But this movie is so sleazy. Charlie never feared away from being sleazy and gross, and that's just what makes this movie great. I believe this was right after he lost the Paramount deal. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted to say that the golden era, in my opinion, it didn't exactly end with when Paramount pulled out from Full Moon in 1995. 1994, really. The end of 94, early 95. There are still some movies where Charlie had built up enough real estate in terms of, you know, where he could film, the money he had made from the Paramount deal, where he still was cranking out classics. Head of the Family is a must-own. Hysterical, nasty, so rewatchable. I would watch this movie anytime anybody offered to watch it. I don't know if these came with DVDs. No, this one just comes with the Blu-ray. All right, guys, so next up, I want to show you all of these. So first of all, Charlie kept the rights for Trancers. Now, you're probably saying, what do you mean kept the rights? So, Trancers was an Empire movie. So, if you don't know, Empire was the company Charlie had before Full Moon. Now, what happened was he went bankrupt with Empire, making more movies and not making enough money off of those movies. And the deal he had with Vestron, putting the stuff out on home video, Vestron was making a lot of that money, not so much Charlie, but you know, it is what it is. My point is he was getting advances on all the VHS tapes when they would distribute them on home video. But, you know, it turns out he wasn't making all the best decisions during that time. Regardless, when he sold the catalog to MGM, which is why the Empire movies are all under the MGM umbrella, he kept the rights to Trancers. So that's why Trancers is on Full Moon home video. Now, here's what I'll say. Trancers is a must-own. Absolutely incredible movie. This artwork sucks on this Blu-ray, but Tim Thomerson and Helen Hunt, that's right, Helen Hunt, who's a huge star now. Tim Thomerson is amazing in this film. Trancers 2, which is somehow just as good and probably even a little bit better. Again, don't let this artwork fool you. Trancers 2 is so good, and I'll even say the same about Trancers 3, Death Lives. Jack Death is the character's name. I would give Trancers an 8.5 out of 10. I would give Trancers 2 a 9.5 out of 10. And I would give Trancers 3 another 8.5 out of 10. These movies are great. Now, Trancers 4 and 5, I think 4 came out on Blu-ray. I think I have that. But I didn't want to pull those out because I don't think that those are as good. But owning the 3 Trancers films on Blu-ray is a must. This is some of Charlie's best work, and Tim Thomerson owns the role. He also played Dollman, which we'll talk about again. But these movies are must-owns. Now, I know what some of you are probably saying, Christian, didn't they put Trancers out on 4K? They did put Trancers out on 4K, but here is the deal. I reviewed this. I was sent this to review, and I had to message the people and say, listen, guys, I'm going to have to be honest about this. And they said, don't lie, be honest. This looks like a Blu-ray. This looks absolutely like a Blu-ray. Now, I can understand some of you saying, well, Christian, the artwork on that is terrible. So what I would tell you, what I would recommend to you is get over it, number one, or if you can get this cheap, get this, because obviously this artwork is to die for. Look at that. The original Trancers poster is fantastic with the door in space. Amazing film. I mean, truly an amazing movie. I can't shut up about Trancers. It's so good. I just think Tim Thomerson is like the other guy, like with Tom Atkins. That middle-aged dude just making badass action horror films. This is definitely a horror film, but it's definitely action-packed. Decide amongst yourselves. Regardless, must own. Trancers, can't beat it. But they essentially look the same. All right, guys, so this is not really an order we have here, but we're going to get right into it. Next up, guys, Netherworld. Now, this is going to go into the... put it at the front of the line for purchasing, but not necessarily a must-own. Netherworld is an interesting little one. This came out in the early 90s. Who directed this one? David Schmoller, who David Schmoller is a regular with the Full Moon films, directed some of, if not the best, Full Moon movies. Netherworld is an interesting one. Takes place in New Orleans. It's kind of a mysterious, voodoo-esque type of horror film. Love the premise. The opening scene is amazing. There's this great shot of this guy getting kicked off of a pier bar in New Orleans by the swamp, and I know that this was alligator-infested waters that he was in. But there's some good acting in this one. The acting in these early full moon films were good because Charlie was able to really pay and hire. The only thing that these movies didn't necessarily have was theatrical distribution at this time. But in terms of quality, I think you would be surprised. I think there's this horrible notion now of full moon stuff looking like crap and being crap. I hate to say this because I love Charlie's movies to death, but I do think he is a parody of himself now. He doesn't really try to make legitimate movies with the exception of Subspecies 5, which was really good. But for the most part now, I feel like Charlie just kind of does the goofy thing where he's just like, let's just make stuff as silly and cheap as possible. When in this day and age, movies like this, they absolutely could have been theatrical releases. Whether they would have caught on or done big is a different story, but Netherworld's a good one. Let me just read you a little bit. After inheriting a sprawling estate in the bayous of Louisiana, Corey Thornton's life is about to change forever. Through instructions left to him at the mansion, Corey learns of his late father's bizarre plan and late wish to be resurrected and is introduced to a very sensual and sexy woman, Dolores, a mistress of black magic who drags the helpless young man into a web of forbidden desires and horrifying visions of his dead dad and things far, far worse. Yeah, so it's a pretty good little movie. Definitely enjoy this one, but also being a New Orleans native, growing up in St. Bernard Parish, not only did I recognize some of the filming locations here, but it felt like at home. So definitely one I would put at the front of the pile. It's a good full moon movie, and that artwork is just fantastic. Another thing Charlie was a big proponent of was having great poster art. And the thing I love about these is Charlie is always happy about promoting this uncut and remastered from the original camera negative. Most of the time, full moon Blu-rays look great because Charlie has since owned the rights and gotten back the rights to all of his negatives for his movies. So when I heard that, like for instance, Bad Channels is coming to Blu-ray, over the moon excited because he's remastering it from the negative. All right, guys, next up, Subspecies. This is a classic. This was the very first Blu-ray release for Subspecies that came out in like 2012, right when Charlie started doing Blu-rays. I got this years ago. Subspecies, in my opinion, is probably the best made full moon horror film of all time. I love Puppet Master. As you saw, we went through the majority of the Puppet Master films already. I showed you them in the box set. And in terms of Puppet Master, owning the first 5 is a no-brainer. You have to own the first 5 Puppet Master films. And then Littlest Reich. But Subspecies was Ted Nicolau, all Ted Nicolau. They filmed this, I believe, in Romania. But this is a great vampire film. I think Anders Hov is an underrated vampire. I think Radu is an underrated vampire. This movie has sensational music, and the mix of like the Charlie Band elements and then Ted Nicolau just going ahead and making the best vampire film he could. It's firing on all cylinders. Those little minions will remind you of something from like The Gate, but it will have the sensual nature and that evil, sadistic side of the vampire stuff that you'd like to see with Radu, the vampire. It's a perfect blend. And it's funny because Nicolau didn't want to have the little minions, but Charlie, that's his whole thing. He loves puppets, dolls, and minions. So it worked together. It makes this unique. Subspecies 1 is amazing. Somehow, Subspecies 2 is just as good. But Subspecies 2, again, directed by Ted Nicolau. This is when Subspecies came out, it was so successful. The poster art for it was perfect, if not legendary. So when they did Subspecies 2, they actually filmed 2 and 3 back-to-back. And the practical effects in this one is great. There's severed heads. There's decrepit, decayed bodies. It tells the story it furthers the story rather. I say that the first one is the best made one because it was the original. It puts the best foot forward. But the sequels are so good. So must own, and Subspecies 3 as well as a must-own. This one's fantastic, too. Again, this was filmed right with 2 back-to-back, and this one will feature some familiar faces. A lot of you guys will recognize this guy. That was the boyfriend from Friday the 13th, Part 7. Great in this movie. The guy was a great actor. But this one is a perfect culmination. Subspecies 4 sucks. I don't like Subspecies 4. And you can get a Blu-ray of that included in that Subspecies box set that I showed you, but it's an HD upscale, and it's not done real. It's AI'd. It doesn't look good. So the first 3 Subspecies are the must-owns, in my opinion. All of these are great films. Yeah, I just think Subspecies is Full Moon's best foot forward at just making a legitimately good film. I think this would have done great in the theaters. Paramount likes to do sequels. If something's successful, we see it still to this day. They did, you know, Smile 2 because the first one was successful. The reception doesn't really matter as much. If people showed up for it, they'll do a sequel. And then Smile 2 came out really good. All right, next up, guys, this is the most underrated of all the Full Moon films. Lurking Fear. I did a short on this the other day. H.P. Lovecraft. This movie is absolutely fantastic. Let me read you a little bit about it. John Martens has just been released from prison after serving 5 years for a crime he didn't commit. John wants to stay away from the wrong side of the law, but family ties won't let him. John gets a message to see Specs, a friend and an undertaker with a taste for larceny. Specs gives John a map of the cemetery where a corpse stuffed with $500,000 has been buried. John's father stole the money with his psychotic partner Bennett, but hid the body, leaving it as a family legacy for his son to dig up. John reluctantly takes off of Lafert's Corner, a small town with a terrible secret. For years, the corners have been torn apart, the people devoured by a race of cannibalistic freaks living in the tunnels below the cemetery. I'll stop right there. I don't know what the actual literature is that H.P. Lovecraft had for this, but Lurking Fear is a classic. To be honest with you, I never even heard of this movie growing up. I don't remember seeing the VHS for this on the shelves, but watching this movie, forget about it. I was slapping myself in the face for 6 hours because I hadn't seen it. This is a must-own. This goes must-own. Goes past add it to the pile, must-own. I don't know what it is about Lurking Fear. It never seemed to have gotten that shine years later, but I'm here to tell you, I love this movie passionately. It's one of my favorite Full Moon films, and this came out in 1994, so right at the tail end of Charlie firing off on all cylinders with Paramount. Lurking Fear. Great cast. You'll see Jeffrey Combs in here show up. Love this movie. Absolutely love Lurking Fear. All right, guys, going back to Tim Thomerson, we got to throw it back to Dollman for just a second. This is the American Blu-ray from Full Moon. Again, looks great. Like I said, Charlie loves to promote that they're remastered in high definition from the negatives and things like that. This is a sci-fi movie with a horror feel to it, but you're going to see Jackie Earle Haley in here playing the villain as like the floating head machine, and it's great. It's very B horror, but with quality, and there's so much forced perspective in here. There's so much optical effects in here that were done, and this was directed by Albert Pune. Rest in peace. I believe he passed away. Fantastic director. Albert Pune has done movies you love, whether you realize it or not. Doll Man is a classic. This is one I would say put to the front of the pile. For some of you that may not be into that sci-fi horror blend, that's why I say that. But if you're familiar with this Blu-ray is great. Will this ever get a 4K? I don't know. I'm perfectly fine with Full Moon just keeping stuff on Blu-ray as long as it's remastered from the negative. But next up, guys, Meridian. This is a great one. Now, this is a movie that could have changed Full Moon's direction for the future. After Twin Peaks and stuff came out, there was this whole kind of big promotion for doing stuff in a very much a sensual, there's a whole swell. And another thing that was going on in the 90s was like this huge push for like Lifetime style movies, but not necessarily lifestyle movies, but stuff that was very like passionate type stuff. In that vein, Meridian was going to be a movie that was going to start a whole new wing for Full Moon, and Paramount was going to push this movie to the moon and back. Now, the movie ended up coming out. It's got a great cast. Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks was in here. And there is this beast that you see. The body of this thing was taken from Dracula when it turns into the monster, but they furred it up and changed the face design a little bit. But the costume for this was from Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1992. Great movie. It's just a shame that things happened with Paramount. There were different people coming in charge of the company, and the plans that they had to start this whole new wing for Full Moon that was going to shoot them to the moon didn't end up happening. Charlie talked about it in his book, and he was pretty upset about it, but neither here or there. Next up, guys, we've got Shadow Zone Remastered. This is one I definitely say check out. I do enjoy this one. From director J.S. Cardone, who's a good director, comes Shadow Zone, one of Full Moon's most acclaimed 90 shockers. On the dark side of Dream, a new terror takes shapes. Things have been gruesome deaths at Project Shadow Zone, but that's just the beginning. A group of NASA hypersleep researchers are conducting tests in an abandoned underground facility in the Nevada desert. One subject has died during the test, and NASA has set Captain Hickok, David Beercroft, to investigate. What he finds is more horrific than death itself. The scientists, guided by Dr. Earnhardt, and Dr. Van Fleet have broken the boundaries of dream, state, sleep, and have tapped into a parallel dimension, ushering in an evil alien being that can assume any life form it chooses. Can our heroes survive the horror of the Shadow Zone? Very much cheesy fun. Fun effects in here. But again, I'm not sure if this is going to be something for everybody. They did remaster this just recently, though. Should be a Blu-ray that you can get it, but I would definitely recommend checking this one out. I believe you could probably find majority of the stuff on Tubi. I think Charlie puts most of his catalog, if not all of it, on Tubi. So you shouldn't have any problems finding it there. But just letting you know, like that's something I definitely say check it out. Next up, guys, definitely want to shout it out to Demonic Toys. Basically, Charlie ripping himself off. This is a toy version of Puppet Master, but so good. The effects in this one are legendary. John Carl Buechler did the work on this for the the toys with Jack Attack, Baby Oopsie Daisy, Terror Teddy, and then the robot. Jack Attack looks amazing in this. The story is actually there's more than meets the eye that you would think, but really fun movie. And this is like during the absolute classic days of Full Moon. 1992 is when this came out. This is a must-own. Absolutely must-own. And I love that. I even have an original poster of this because they were putting these in video stores. Now, I want to go back to talking about the 4K. We talked about the 4K for Trancers looking like a Blu-ray. Well, this is what I will say. If you can get this at a good price, the 4K for Puppet Master 3 looks insanely good. Absolute 180 from Trancers. This was one of the best 4Ks of the year when it came out for me, which I believe was 2022. I can't remember the exact year, but this one looked amazing. They did this one right. And Puppet Master 3 is a fan favorite, which I like the first one the most, but it's not hard to see why. Puppet Master 3 does everything right for a prequel, goes there with all the Nazi lore stuff. Charlie wasn't afraid to really dig into that. But the ending is insane with the puppets and the doctor, which was played by Richard Lynch. Yeah, Richard Lynch. I don't want to spoil it, but if you haven't seen the ending of Puppet Master 3, it is bloody, it is gruesome, and those puppets wreck shop. That's all I'll say. Great movie. Yeah, get that one, but if not, get the Blu-ray or get the box set. There's 2 box sets. Next up, guys, this is an interesting one because this is technically Empire as well, but again, I think Charlie was able to keep the rights to these. This is from 1987, Creepazoids. This is an awesome movie. Sci-fi horror film, but really heavy emphasis on horror. Yeah, Creepazoids is great. Linnea Quigley's in this. This is remastered in widescreen from the camera negative as well. Very, very cheesy, but very, very awesome. Creepazoids is a classic. All kinds of monsters and effects in here. Babies, zombie-looking things, creatures. Yeah, great stuff. David Ducato directed this too. So I think this was also one of those movies that Charlie was just able to keep the license to. But this is a classic. For some reason, this one doesn't stay in print a lot all the time. As soon as it comes, it goes. I think it's because it's a requested title. They sell very fast, but get Creepazoids. This is a must-own. Classic 80s horror. Yeah, I love this one so much. But yeah, like I said, just make sure you get this one. Put this to the top of the list. Next up, guys, this is another one that's a must-own. One of the first movies Charlie did after the Paramount deal ended. This was directed by Stuart Gordon, Castle Freak. Again, probably the best non-Paramount Full Moon film. They did a remake of this one that actually wasn't that bad either. I liked it. But the original Castle Freak with Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton, out of this world good. This movie is criminally good. And this was filmed in the castle that Charlie Band owned at the time. The effects in this one, forget about it. It's sensational. The acting in this is great too, but by that point, Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton were seasoned actors. They had been they had worked a lot with Stuart Gordon, so it wasn't their first rodeo. I think after Castle Freak, Barbara took a big break from acting. So if this was her swan song for her first run of acting, this was a great way to go out. Stuart Gordon directed this, if I didn't say that already. Absolute classic. Must own. All right, this is definitely one I would say add it to the list, but not the must own, but like priority after you get all your must owns. Hideous, a.k.a. Deformed Freaks. I don't think I need to explain this one too much to you. Super fun, super cheesy, and super sleazy. Charlie really hung on to the sleaze factor after the Paramount deal ended because he knew it would be a way to gain attention. Dr. Lorca, an eccentric collector of biological oddities, has just acquired his greatest specimen, a horrible mutant born of toxic sewage, but the creature's rightful owners wants it back. The collector's clash is cut short, though, as a sickening specimen comes to life, reanimating an angry, oozing little army of ferocious freaks. A lot of stop-motion stuff in this, but the things in here are gross looking, and they're so weird looking. I mean, just look at that one thing. It looks like the big turkey. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with this, but it is a fun movie. I would say add it to the list of priorities, but not a must-own. Maybe even check it out, but I love these kinds of... Like I said, Charlie really hung on to sleaze after the Paramount deal ended. And speaking of sleaze, here's another one. I would say put this over priority of Hideous, but that is The Creeps, Deformed Monsters. Again, same vein. But this one's awesome. This one looked really good, too, this Blu-ray. I believe there were some really cool video store scenes in here. Dracula, Frankenstein, the werewolf, mummy, they're alive and they're angry. These scary subjects of innumerable nightmares have been brought to life, but there was a problem in the process. Though imbued with most of the expected attributes, the creatures made a little error in the equation. The frightening fiends materialize in miniature. 3 feet tall and not happy at all, the minuscule monsters embark on a mad mission to complete their creation at any cost. So this is basically like Monster Squad, but mini versions, and with a lot of sleaze. There is a lot of breasts in this. Like I said, after the Paramount deal ended, Charlie needed to make sure he was reeling them in. The Creeps is super fun. I think it's better than Hideous, so this would actually go to closer to the top of the priority list. But like I said, if you like Monster Squad and you want a mini version with sleaze, then The Creeps is for you. And last but not least, guys, this is one that I would also say is check it out before you watch it. A really heavy emphasis on sci-fi and cheese, but that is Seedpeople. But this was remastered not too long ago, and I will say looks really good. Like I said, I'll give Charlie credit. Most of his Blu-rays come from the negatives, and this one was no exception. But this one's all about these seed monsters that come to, let me just read it to you. Prepare to unearth the root of all evil with this classic 1992 full moon science fiction horror movie that will get under your skin. Welcome to the sleepy little town of Comet Valley, where nothing exciting happens. That is, until the town is invaded by sentient plants from outer space. Intent on taking over the Earth, this fearsome foliage has found a diabolical way to pollinate humans, turning them into walking, talking, killing seed people. Can Comet Valley's resourceful residents fight off the alien invaders, or is the planet doomed to become a savage garden of alien evil? Yeah, just silly stuff. Peter Manoogian directed this, and you can definitely tell like his style with his movies. I'm sure you've seen some of Peter's movies, but fun movie, but cheesy as hell. So I'd say check that one out, but I will say the Blu-ray looks great. But guys, that's a lot of the stuff I wanted to go over of the golden era of Full Moon on Blu-ray. Like I said, get ready for Bad Channels. I love that. It's like a throwback to 50 sci-fi monster movies. Super fun, but with an awesome soundtrack. But if you have any questions about those guys, if there's any I didn't mention that you think I should have, let me know down below. But listen, I'm a Full Moon fan, and I love talking about these movies. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.